Hello and welcome to Path of Exile Necropolis League. This series is going to be dedicated to new players, brand new players that have finished Acts 1 through 10. They've fought Katava, they've won, and now they're in the Endgame. And they're faced with maps and mapping, and all the content's been opened up to you, and it can be overwhelming. When we first started on the beach and we got our first point, we were faced with this. Now, after doing the super detailed series on how to build a Cyclone Slayer guy, I went into massive detail and explained every step of the way, and I had path of building links that you could follow along, all kinds of things. Well, now we're into this, and we're faced with more overwhelming things. Let's bring this up. We have this thing, this whole atlas, maps and special maps at the end, and tier 16s, red, yellow, white maps, and it's amazing. And not only that, but we have another passive skill tree. And not only that, this league, they added the ability to have more than one, so you can have 3 different versions. So in this video, we're going to keep it shorter, and we're only going to focus on a few things: doing a map, explaining what it is, and also getting your map device into your hideout. So if you've done a map and you think you know exactly what that means and everything, and you understand that how to move stuff and move stuff from your from here and get a map device in your hideout, and you know how to lock down the portals so other people can't use it, then you're good to go and you can watch the next one. But let's get into it, and we'll just do this one. And I'm going to be super detailed and super focused and keep it concise to just those things. So let's do that. I'll attempt to. This is actually difficult for a player that has played a long time, because we use terms like Nico and June and betrayal and heist, and we say all these things, but they're really complex topics on themselves. So we're going to slow it down and explain everything in this series step by step. So I'll do my best. So you just killed Katava. Let's take a look at the map. And you were right here in Act 10, and here's the Oriath docks, and you talked to the lady, and you got in. It said sail to the next area, which is here, and you woke up right in this little cabin. What I don't want you to miss is this item right here. This unlocks a bunch of really important crafts, flask crafting abilities, so that you can automate these, and we'll show you how to do that later in this series as well. Don't miss that. And then you're going to come right over here, and you're going to talk to, there's going to be Lily, and you're going to talk to her, and she's going to say run right over here. And sometimes it's actually difficult to see it because you're out in a bright area, and you're just going to come right through here. Down this path is where you turn in these rewards and you turn that in. It's a quest reward for unlocking different things, and then you can get some rewards, but we'll go over that later. And you come in here and you say, uh-oh, this guy wants to talk to you. Kirik, he's an important character, and he has a quest for you. And he's going to give you one of 4 maps that are tier 1. So let's explain what that means. In Path of Exile, the end game consists of mapping in general. Now, does that mean you only have to do mapping to do your end game? Absolutely not. There's people that just get into this end game type thing, and they just do a little bit of mapping, and then they focus on the content that they like. They could do Delve, they could do Sanctum, they could do Heist. It doesn't mean you have to do that. But in general, as a new player, you really should go through the mapping system and progress your atlas, do some of the boss fights, and enhance the side content via the mapping system. So a map, it's actually, imagine that it's just a section. Like if we bring this up, you could literally say that maybe this right here, when you go in here, that's a map, but it's not really. This is just a part of the campaign. But when you do a map in your map device, it opens up, in general, 6 portals to an instance version of this zone. And it has a boss in it, and it has all kinds of stuff. It can have content in it, side content, and loot, and all the great stuff. And what happens is, there's different tiers of these maps, and you work your way up through the tiers. So it starts out as a tier 1 map, meaning the easiest, which is equivalent to about a level 69 monster, or 68, and then it goes up to tier 16, and then now they've introduced tier 17 maps. And it gets progressively harder and harder as you work your way up through the tiers. So let's go over what this means. I'm going to press G. That's the normal default thing. And yours isn't going to look like this. It's going to be mostly grayed out or blank up here. But we go look at that at the bottom, and it says what the maps are in this league for tier 1. And there's 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I had a bunch, and I just pulled them out. As you get into, as you fought Katava and got to this point, you're actually probably you will have dropped a few of these, maybe even 5 or 6. And what you want to do is, you're going to be completing these maps to get the Atlas bonus point. And let's take a look at that again. We're going to pull this up, and I'll explain what that means. If we hover over this, it says a few things. It says there's the name of the boss that is in the area. There's also, it says bonus. Kill the boss of magic or higher version of this map, and you're going to get a completion point. And your completion points are like the passive skill. As you were leveling up, you got skill points to spend. These completion points, if you do what it says to do, which is tier 1 through 5, is all the same. It says, hey, complete this as magic or higher version of the map. And I'll do that. I'll explain how to make that a magic or higher version. You're going to get a completion point for that. And that's how you get points to spend in this. In the next episode, I'll explain why and what you maybe want to do as a new player to make it easier to progress through your Atlas. There's ways to build your skill tree here that makes it easier to progress into tier 5, 6, 10, 12, 16, and even 17. There's easier ways to make a passive Atlas tree that will make it easier to progress. So let's continue on. There's so much. I'll try to do my best. So Kirik, he's got a little exclamation point over his head, and he's offering you 4 different maps. He's only going to give you one, but you can pick which one. So when you're first starting, what you want to do is you want to look and see which map you're missing. Let's say I was missing Bone Crypt. I had all these maps, but I was missing the Bone Crypt one. Well, I would go up to him, talk to him, and say, hey, I'll take the Bone Crypt map, and he's going to give you it, and I believe it's already going to be magic. If it's not, I think he does give you a magic one. If it's not, we want to get a completion bonus point for actually doing the map, so we want to turn it into a blue map. So let's go right back over to a stash here, and I'll explain this in the next series. I'm not going to get into the stash tabs, but we'll get into that. I'm just trying to keep this very concise in a shorter video, which is difficult to do. So we're going to make this simple. We want to turn it from a normal white map, which you could run, but you just wouldn't get a completion point for it. So you want to get that completion point. After that, you can run it any way you want. If you run it white, it doesn't have extra modifiers that make it more difficult. If you could actually run it rare, and that makes it even more difficult, or you can run it rare and corrupted, which adds another, and it could even be more difficult. So we're going to do this. We're going to come up here to your transmutes, which turns items from normal to magic, and we're going to say, click it on there, and it added one of a possible 2 mods. Let's see what if we hold it down there. It's a prefix. And it says monster. It's probably one of the worst ones for a lot of people if they're melee-based character. This is good. It says monsters reflect 13% of your physical damage. Well, that would be horrible, because as soon as you hit something, it reflects it back tenfold, it feels like, and you instantly die. And you're like, what is going on? And you could be really dismayed at that. If you see something that says reflects physical damage, reflects elemental damage, or chaos damage, or there's no regen allowed, or there's certain mods on here that really stand out and say, wait a second, this is horrible. Well, you have an option with these. At this point, you do. If it's corrupted, you wouldn't. But we're just going to grab one of these alteration shards, or orbs, and that allows us to re-roll it. We don't want that. Now, my character is actually immune to reflected physical damage, so it wouldn't matter to me. In fact, there isn't really a mod that can roll on maps that I care about. Nothing really hurts me. So we're going to re-roll this. Oh, buffs on players expires 30% faster. And you notice, because that buff is different than the last one, the item quantity, the rarity, and the monster pack size changed as well. As you add more and more mods and make the map more difficult, you get bonuses to quantity, item rarity, monster pack size, which is a good thing, because the more of that out there, the more loot you get, and it's all a good thing. So I'm going to hold control and left click these away, and we'll pretend this is the one that Kirik gave us. Most likely the one he gives you isn't going to have one of those really terrible mods. I'm almost positive that they don't drop ones that would delete your character when you jump in there and just get killed. So let's go use this, and it's the very first one. Let's go do it. I'll even give you a solution to the problem of, let's say you go into these maps, and they're, for some reason, they're just way too hard. You're dying instantly. It's no fun. I'm going to give you a solution to that as well. All right, so we're going to open up the map device, and you're going to be faced with, this won't be here, and I don't think this shows up. This will be very simplified, but these won't be here, and basically you're only going to have this, and it'll say something like, this is a free modifier to all the maps that you put in here, and you can pick which ones you want to do later, but this is one. It's just going to say 1% increased quantity of items found in the map. It's just a bonus, but that bonus is now up to 8% for me, because it progresses as you progress through maps. So then we can control left click, or we could just drag this over, and it says activate. So boom, we activate it. And this is a Necropolis league, so I'm faced with this thing, which is okay. And you can also modify the map by doing the thing that you've done during the campaign already. But this thing, we probably want to take a quick look at this and say, what's going to happen here? Well, every single, if this is too hard for you, you can move this down. Let's say this looks like 40% chance for pack to be upgraded to magic. Well, that's more dangerous. What about strongest monster in pack get dropped armor is converted to scouring? That's not so bad. Maybe we'll make it a little bit easier by putting that there, and we could even make it easier by, this pack size is low, and if you want to make it easier, put this down here. Same thing as you were doing when you were leveling, but we'll leave it like that, and we're going to just enter in here. And we won't put any embers on it or anything, nothing like that. Okay, so we get 6 portals. If you, for some reason, you die and use 6 portals jumping back in, you die and you come back here, go back in and use up all your portals, and you haven't killed the boss, you don't get the Atlas completion point to spend. But let's go in and have fun. So we're going to jump in here. And for some reason, if you come in here, I'm going to put the tab on. If you come in here and you say, and you can't do this, we're going to have a solution for that right after the map. So let's go here and we're going to look for the boss. We're not going to do any of this other content. We're just going to look for the boss. Might just try to ignore that because I want to explain it later. That's June betrayal content, which is really important. We're going to get through this. So I'm just going to cruise through here and I'm going to look for the boss. Now the thing is, these maps are sometimes generally random, but other times they're pretty, they can be kind of predefined in their layout. And you'll get used to different maps and you'll think, okay, this is great, I can do this one. And is that June? No, that's June stuff. We're just going to find the boss. So I'll be right back. And I'll turn this off so it's less annoying. Here's the boss. And he's already done. I hit him. I'm sorry, I hit him too hard. He instantly fell over. And what's going to happen is this will say map complete. And you'll get a point to spend. At that point, I'll cover in the next video how to spend your next points, but we're just doing the very simple stuff. So we're going to port out of here. You can do, if you haven't done this already in this league, you should definitely go into inputs, go down to the bottom, and tie a key to your portals so that you can just press a key and it will automatically use one of your portal scrolls. I have it on a mouse button on the side. I can just drop a portal and it brings us right back to where we entered from, which is here. So now we've completed it, and he's going to come up here, and he has a quest reward for us, and he's going to give us something called 3 Keurig missions. I'll explain those in the future, but now you've done your first map. You've got your first point to spend, and we're going to explain how to spend those points and why to make things easier just for new players. There's different strategies for everybody, but this is definitely one to make it so that you can progress through the map and mapping system more smoothly. It's going to give things to make your life easier in maps, and you'll find more maps and be able to progress smoothly. If for some reason you can't do this, you get in there and your health is too low, there's other options, and they're actually pretty good. And here it is. You're going to come over here to your waypoint, and you're going to go right into part 2 into Act 10, and see this reliquary? That was a level 68 area. This is a level 67. EXP wise, this is actually a really good area, probably as good or better than any of the map tier 1s that you're going to be doing. This thing, you can run it over and over and over again. So let's say we go in here and we run this. You're going to get maps, you're going to get loot drops, you're going to get everything, you're going to get chaos, you're going to start building up your thing. If you do this 5 or 10 times in a row, it can go by in a matter of a minute or two each time you run in here, and it's a big loop. It kind of runs around, it goes way around like this, and then it comes right back here, and then you're right back at the start, and you just hold down Control and left click. Control and left click right here on this, and then you say new, and you'll run it again, and you run it again, and you're going to get a few things. You're going to get quite a few. You'll probably get hundreds of millions, 150 million EXP per hour, and all of a sudden you'll get 2 or 3 more levels. You'll get points to spend, and let's say you're dying too often. Well, look for some life nodes. Look for something that says gives you life. Gives life. There's life nodes all around. This one's a big one, and it gives just tons of life. Look at your armor level. We'll bring this up. You're going to make sure 3 things are in line. You probably should have at least 2,700 to 3,000 health. If you can't find that, start looking for items that have life on them. Maximum life. Start searching for those. In the next videos, we'll show you how to find items that are good and helpful for these things. Build up your life to that level on the skill tree. Make sure that your fire, cold, and lightning resistances are capped, because you just went through the Katava fight and he took 30 chaos or 30 resistance penalty to everything, so it was a total of 60. You fought him the first time and the second time. All of a sudden you're like, why am I getting crushed? Well, you had enough resistances before. You were capped at whatever the number is, 75 or higher even, and now all of a sudden you're getting crushed. Make sure you have enough resistances. You can go to your crafting bench, and hopefully you'll have a spot open, a suffix open, and you'll be able to craft something like fire and lightning resistance onto your guy. This one I probably don't even need that fire and resistance. I can actually change that on my guy to something like fire and chaos. And that's the importance of unlocking more and more crafts. I'm getting ahead of myself. So if you can't do it, make sure you have your life higher by getting some levels and building up your life. Make sure your resists are capped, and then maybe even armor. If you're going for armor, look for some body armor with a lot of base armor on it, and that'll get you up to at least, well, for me, I get a 50% reduction. And we'll show you how to do that in the next videos. But that's what you want to do. You want to build up your defenses, and then you can go back and do maps. So let's find out what the next thing to do is. We're going to come right back here to the epilogue right here, and this is where you're at. How do you get your map device into your hideout? Well, I'll level that up. how do we get that into there? Let's go to our hideout, and we can do it one of two ways. You can do /hideout, just like this, in many places. I have it on a mouse button, so I can just do /hideout like that, and it'll bring me there, or you just go to your hideout like normal. But see how this map device mirrors the one we were just at? Let's do this. Okay, so you're in your hideout, you don't have a map device. You want it in here. You've figured out how to get your stash in here, maybe even put a crafting bench in and different things, but you want your map device there. So we're going to click right here, press edit, decorations, and then under keyword, just type map, and it's going to come up right there. And then we're going to place it right there. You can turn it around. You can move it around. Let's move it right up there, I guess. And then now it's placed. We're going to turn the decorations off, and you turn edit off, and it's there. Consequently, if you don't want people to use your portal device and all that kind of stuff and use your portals, you can actually protect it by changing the portal access right here. And other options, you can read those right here. We're going to say only friends can use it, or only me, or all party members, and that's the default one. But when you invite people into your group to trade, I think they become a party member, and they could just jump in your thing. I've never had anybody do that, but they could. So we're going to do only friends are allowed in my portal. And we'll close this down. You can go through here and find all kinds of amazing things. Decorate your hideout the way you want. Mine's very utilitarian. It's just stuff is where it is. And we'll push edit to get out of that and minimize it. And there's the map device. Perfect. So we've gone over quite a bit, and it's this is how super detailed it is for new players. You've done your first map. If you haven't, you go back to here and jump into Reliquary and do 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 of these maps. It only takes a minute to run around there, 2 minutes maybe. You're going to get more loot. You're going to get a bunch of generic maps that just drop probably tier 1s in there, and you're going to be building up your levels to spend to get yourself more defensive, or maybe even get some more damage, whatever you need, and then you'll be able to attack it. I think you're in good shape, and we're going to do the next we'll explain the next things. We'll explain Keurig. We'll explain the crafting bench and why you want to use June to unveil more, what all that means, how to go into Nico and Delve and get tons of EXP really easily so that you can go from level 78 or 80 up to 90 in the blink of an eye. Stuff like that. So I hope this helps. I'll see you in the next episode, and I'm still going to do an update for the step-by-step build guide for the Cyclone of Tumult Slayer step-by-step guide. I'll do all that. So I hope this helps. Have a good one, and I'm trying to be really detailed and not leave anything out. And it's going to be a multi-part series here. There's so much to explain. You've gone through the campaign, and at best, it's 2% of the game, maybe even 1% of the game. There's still 98+% of the game ahead of you at this point. It's amazing. It's complex. It's a lot of fun, and it's so cool. Have a good one and enjoy.